What's good? It's your boy Jay. That's me. Let's talk about and discuss Impact Wrestling for July the 6th, 2023. Very good show, much like last week. So this is really good for Impact. They've given us a really good 2 weeks of shows, and this was no exception. And I really do enjoy when Impact loves to push the envelope and go a little bit farther with stuff. So this was a very good episode of Impact from a storyline character perspective. Wrestling, not so much. So we kicked the show off with the first match of the night, that being Frankie Kazarian versus Eddie Edwards. There's a point in the match where Eddie Edwards and his wife, they kiss, Alicia. So that was pretty cool right there. Eddie gets the win via the Boston Knee Party. There was a bunch of distractions by Alicia in this match. It's fine. It doesn't really matter all that much. Alicia should be somebody's valet, and Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian should both be coaches of some sort, like backstage coaches. You know, they've ran their time. Their time is up, literally. You know, they can't do anything else. That's just kind of how I see it. But the match felt kind of long too. It went a good 10 to 12 minutes, but it felt like it was like 30. Yeah, moving on. So Gia Miller, she's backstage. She's interviewing Lio Rush. Lio Rush said that he isn't here to make friends. He said he was an Impact to win the X Division Championship. Nick Aldis then interrupts. Rush said that he didn't want Nick Aldis' advice. Nick Aldis said they both want to win titles, and that's about the only thing that they have in common. Nick Aldis says they had to win the night. He said they could go their separate ways after that. Nick Aldis warned Lio Rush not to let his ego get in the way, and not to let Leo's ego get in the way of Nick Aldis either. So I do like this. This is fine. Really good shit here by Impact. I do think that Lio Rush will end up beating Chris Sabin. And maybe Nick Aldis wins by Chris Sabin costing Alex Shelley. And that way the two of them can feud. Because I still think that we're going to see both Nick Aldis and Lio Rush, as well as Naomi, a.k.a. Trinity, winning championship gold. I think that the Impact's going to end up making a lot of changes so they can make the product a lot better, a lot more appealing to a more casual aspect of it. And I think that would make a lot of sense, because that way Impact can be kind of taken serious again. So if you have like your top champions being, you know, like a Lio Rush, which is like their X division is what WWE's cruiserweight division used to be. So you got that. So he can be like the Ricochet of the on the roster. Then you've got Nick Aldis as your world champion. You got you got Trinity as your women's champion. So therefore Impact can be kind of watchable, I would say. But that's just me. Moving on, Frankie Kazarian, he's backstage and said that Eddie Edwards didn't win the the way Killer Kowalski taught them. Frankie Kazarian mentioned, he challenged Eddie to a match at Slammiversary and said he would bring his wife Tracy Brooks to counteract Alicia Edwards. Okay, it doesn't really matter all that much, I hope that this shit is going to be on the damn countdown to Slammiversary next weekend. They have to do it. I do not want to see Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian on the main card. No. No. You put those two dinosaurs on the pre-show, and I'm fine with that. But on the main show, no. Same thing goes with boring-ass Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. Same thing goes for those two boring asses. Can't stand either of them as well. Sammy's okay in certain doses, but moving on. So, this leads us into Rich Swann and Sami Callihan versus Champagne Singh and Shira. So, Sammy and Rich, they get the win via a pile driver into a super kick for the 1, 2, 3. Who really cares? It's not that important. I could give a shit less. Same thing with Brian Myers. Throw him in that same class as well. Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, Frankie Kazarian, Eddie Edwards, Rich Swann, Sami Callihan. The list goes on and on and on with Impact. Like, we need some fresh faces. Like, too many of these guys are in their 30s, taking up time for young guys who need to be on the who can be on the Impact roster. So Gia Miller, she interviewed both Brian Myers and Moose, who were watching the match from a monitor. Gia noted that Swann had beaten Moose. Moose challenged Sammy and Rich to face real competition and have a match against him next week. Not really all that important. Again, who gives a shit? Brian Myers, he sucks. He should be just doing a backstage producer role. That's the best for him. Seriously. And he has a wrestling training school as well. Oh, boy. Oof. I mean, Brian Myers is okay, but he's okay in the role of backstage producer and coach more so than he is a wrestler. Because he is bland. He's okay on the mic, but his wrestling ability is pure and utter shit. Moving on, so we see a clip from before the Impact of Santino Marella yelling at Dirty Dango. Santino said he would destroy Dirty Dango, and then Heath gave Dirty Dango a wake-up call from behind. Then we have another really good Dirty Dango vignette, which is great, where he's getting interviewed. Dirty Dango said that he hadn't watched wrestling since it was cool, mentioning like the 1990s. I love this. I love this character. I love this heel persona. And we know he's just doing this in a comedic fashion, but it is so damn good. He continues on and says that he saw that some of his heroes weren't as cool in person. He named some of his ACW favorites, like Veneno 5 and Aja. He said that he would advise young Impact Wrestling talent to go back to school, which I would agree with. The same thing for people in MLW and GCW. He said that he's moved past Santino and the Cobra gimmick. He called Santino a one-hit wonder. He also said seeing fans at the merch stand was like seeing a Star Trek convention. Really good stuff there. He said that he wished that he could pursue Heath to go into a different profession, like working at Home Depot. Oh, really good shit, man. Really good comedic gold. Moving on. Jonathan Gresham versus Angels, aka Alan Angels, with Diener and Khan by his side. Jonathan Gresham gets the win via the octopus lock. This went on way too long. This match should have went at least maybe 5 minutes. So, one problem that I have with Impact is they try to do too much work rate shit sometimes. And, you know, I feel like you should have at least 1 or 2 work rate matches. And that should be like your opening match and your main event. Everything else should be kind of cut short. But, you know, it was okay. So, post-match, Gresham wanted to shake hands. Alan Angels, he then teases leaving the ring, and he's getting yelled at by Diener. And he told Diener that he didn't need him anymore. Diener got in the ring and yelled at Alan Angels. Khan tried to be a peacemaker. Angels pushed Diener's hand out of his face. And then Angels shook Gresham's hand and walked up the ring by himself. So that's great. I'm glad that they're teasing a breakup within the shitty faction. Diener sucks. Diener is another one who's in that Frankie Kazarian, Eddie Edwards class who needs to just be a backstage producer and kind of hang it up. I think that's what they're doing with Rhino and PCO as well, but we'll talk about that when we get there, especially with PCO. Moving on. So Chris Bay and Ace Austin were backstage. Ace said that the odds were stacked against them, like at against all odds. Bay said that it didn't matter. The Rascals they approached, they wanted to be added to the Slammiversary tag team match. Bay said that they never had been Impact tag champs. And so they're still playing on his time in WWE. That being Zachary Wentz, a.k.a. Nash Carter. But really, you know, it was his wife putting him through all that hell. So Zachary Wentz went on to challenge Chris Bay to a match to get into the title match, which is going to take place next week. Okay, I'm fine with this. So, moving on. PCO and Scott D'Amore, they were backstage playing with fireworks. So, more 4th of July stuff, which is fun. We get a really good clips from the Impact Down Under in Australia tour. So they are showing us pictures of the zoo, a press conference at schools talking about mental health and awareness and in the ring. So the wrestlers who were there were like Moose, Joe Hendry, Step DeLander, who we haven't seen in months on Impact. I thought she may have went to NWA. Deonna Purrazzo, Steve Maclin, and others. Moving on. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully Australia will let them come back again next year for Impact. I think that was great. They mentioned that they got the approval by the Australian government. So that's great. I think that's what WWE is going to do as well. I think all these wrestling companies who have common sense would actually start talking to governments to get certain things done, especially like, you know, doing international stuff. Tony Khan needs to do that. If he has not done that, he needs to get with certain governments so he can get these perks. That's how WWE is going to win this quote-unquote war. Moving on. So Trinity, she went into Deonna Purrazzo's dressing room. Trinity thanked Deonna for having her back last week. Trinity noted that Deonna was slow in making the save, saying maybe Deonna didn't want her at 100%. Deonna said they didn't need each other's help. Deonna said that she would have an open challenge next week. Deonna rolled her eyes when Trinity left. So, I do like this. I do think that we might see Deonna Purrazzo turn heel So that would make sense. Again, I'm still thinking that they are going to have Trinity defeat Deonna Purrazzo. Not clean, but maybe in like a fluke win type of thing, like a roll-up type of thing. That's what I hope they end up doing. So we can get a feud out of the two. That's what I would do. Moving on. PCO versus the Good Hands. John Skyler and Jason Hotch. So PCO wins via the PCO salt. This only went about a couple minutes. So post-match, we had a really good angle here. Very, very good angle. So Scott, the more he got in the ring, he celebrated with PCO after the match. Hotch came in the ring, and he got in Scott's face. He then slapped Scott D'Amore. Scott D'Amore chopped and punched Hotch. And then Scott D'Amore gave Hotch a high-low. He was about to give Hotch a Canadian Destroyer. Bully Ray comes out. Maclin comes in from behind and low blows PCO. Maclin hit Scott D'Amore with a chair. Bully hit Scott and PCO with a chair. Maclin then gets handcuffs and handcuffs Scott to the top rope. So very similar to what happened at Money in the Bank. The women's Money in the Bank with Zoe Stark and Becky Lynch. Hotch brought in a table into the ring. Scott tried to go after Bully and Maclin, but he couldn't get loose. Bully and Maclin put PCO through a table. And then Bully throws PCO down a ramp on the side. They then go PCO down the ramp, and they follow him backstage. So Maclin and Bully are still beating down PCO even further. So Bully puts a chair on PCO's throat as Maclin poured quote-unquote battery acid into PCO's mouth, which probably it wasn't battery acid at all, probably just a bunch of water and stuff like that, mixed with some food coloring. And then Bully, he put liquid onto PCO, and he lit him on fire. So I do like that. That was great. Great stuff there. Smart decision there, too. I really enjoyed that. See, this is the shit that I love when Impact does. It was fucking awesome to see that. We haven't seen someone be lit on fire in quite some time, especially in WWE and in AEW. But this is great. If Impact does more of this, I like it. Stuff like that is great. Tremendous stuff there. Continuing on. So we come back from commercial, and Hannafin and Ray Wall are selling this whole thing perfectly. So Scott D'Amore and Scott D'Amore was backstage looking for PCO. T. Miller asked how this would affect their match at Slammiversary. Scott said he didn't care, and he's going to continue to look for him, that being PCO. So that's fine. They'll probably end up bringing maybe Lance Storm into the mix since they're going to be in Canada. Next, Courtney Rush versus Giselle Shaw, who had Jessica by her side and Savannah Evans and Jay Vidal in the corner of Giselle Shaw. Giselle Shaw gets the win via the help of Jay Vidal. Who cares? It's not really all that important. I want to know, where is my girl Tasha Steelz? Where is she? Where is she? This makes no sense. Where's my girl at? I'm guessing she's done. I guess she said, fuck Impact, I'm out. So, we get a really good funny segment involving Kenny King and Sheldon Jean. So they're walking backstage. A fan asked Kenny King for an autograph. Like, this first chick looked really, really big. She was kind of attractive, but she looked really big. Brown skin sister. But this sister was damn sure at BBW. Damn, she was big. Good God. But, hey, I ain't got nothing against big women. I ain't got nothing against them at all. He pulled away, and she tried to fondle him. That was great. Oh, boy, I love that one. I love that. So Kenny King said that he blamed Joe Hendry's video for fans coming after him. Another fan approached, but she said she was a fan because he was on The Bachelor. And this was a white chick, so she looks okay. Joe Hendry appeared, and Shelton Jean asked what would stop them from attacking him right now. I mean, right then and there. Kenny King said Hendry didn't have any backup. And then boring as Yu Uemura appeared out of nowhere, and then both Kenny King and Shelton Jean left, which makes sense. And the main event, the Motor City Machine Guns versus Nick Aldis and Lio Rush. So Lio Rush gets the win. This was a pretty long match. Went about a little over 15 minutes. About, 18 minutes? Oof. Kind of long there. So they had 3 long matches, which isn't too bad. I don't like the fact that Chris Sabin got pinned, but since Lio Rush won with a low blow into the frog splash for 1, 2, 3, I'm kind of fine with it. You can kind of justify it. You can kind of almost see that Chris Sabin is going to lose, because I don't see the Motor City Machine Guns walking out as champions once Slammiversary goes off the air. I just don't see it. I do see where they're probably going to end up going with a turn for Chris Sabin, where Alex Shelley may win by the skin of his teeth, like a roll-up, and then that's when we see Chris Sabin get jealous, and then the next time Nick Aldis and Alex Shelley face each other, that's when Chris Sabin turned his back on Alex Shelley. So that's probably what they're going to end up doing. But Impact this week was solid. You know, it was solid like it was last week. Very good stuff here. Very good stuff. I'm excited for Slammiversary. But what do you guys think about the show? Let me know. Please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for my videos. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.